Good morning guys, my name's Vinny. I recently retired at the age of 47 years old after saving and investing since my early 20s. We're currently having a nice sunny break in the Canary Islands. It's about 27 degrees outside today, so lovely weather. It's fantastic to get away from the UK weather for 9 or 10 days. Really having a good time at the moment, just topping up the vitamin D. I'm reading a book at the moment. It is a little bit on the serious side for holiday, if I'm honest, but there's definitely some interesting stuff in it. I thought it was worth sharing my thoughts on this book with you guys because it relates directly to early retirement. The book is called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. I did warn you that it was a serious subject for holiday, but let's dive into it pretty quickly. The book's written by a palliative care nurse. That's someone who looks after people when they're dying. I won't spoil the book for you, but if you're interested in getting a copy, there's a link in the video description as usual. I'm still working my way through the book at the moment, but one of the top regrets really jumped out at me. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. And this regret comes mainly from men. And basically everybody says the same thing. They wish they hadn't worked so hard and they wish they'd spent more time with their families. So just to expand on that a little bit, there were three themes around that regret which really stood out to me. The first one that jumped out at me was people regretted not spending more time with their families and loved ones. And let's face it, this is a fairly common problem. We've all come across this. People who work 9 to 5 all the time, they don't spend enough time with their families, they don't spend enough time pursuing hobbies. And you're working 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, doing those commutes backward and forward to work, taking those forced lunch hours. And then you get to the weekend and then you spend the weekend trying to cram in all the things that you couldn't do because you were working, going to the shops, doing the DIY, doing the cleaning, doing all the chores in the house. Everything gets crammed into 2 days and that's not enough time for people. So the second theme around this regret was that people regretted tying their personal identities to their jobs. And I've seen this thousands of times through my career. I used to do it myself. I'm a software engineer, I'm a development manager, I'm a CEO, I'm a chief finance officer. People are so focused on their careers and so focused on their titles and their work identities that they don't spend enough time outside work doing the things that really matter, spending time with your family, your loved ones, pursuing hobbies, and just taking that time really to enjoy life in general. The career takes top priority over everything else. And they spend years and years of their lives building up these work identities. All of a sudden you get made redundant, get laid off, which happened to me a month ago. Or something happens to your health and you suddenly have to stop working. That's exactly what happened to my dad in his 50s. And all of a sudden that work identity that you spend years and years building up, it's gone like that. As you guys know, I was made redundant, laid off pretty recently, and all of a sudden my work identity just evaporated overnight. I went from Vinny the techie guy or Vinny the software guy to just plain old Vinny overnight. So your work identity is something that can be there one day and gone the next. So the question is it really that important compared to living your life and spending your time with your family and your loved ones? The third common theme was, and I've recently just talked about this in a video, is people who'd sacrificed their health working long hours and working in highly stressful jobs. And when they finally got to retire, their health was destroyed. And they spent their retirement years battling disease and ailments and most of their final years in pain. I've already talked about this in previous videos. People who have had heart attacks and work. I used to know a number of people who died long before they reached the retirement age. Some of those people worked in very stressful jobs, and very likely the reason they passed early was probably because of that stress that they were under all the time. I also know a few people who've retired and they're popping pills every day just to keep the pain away and keep themselves alive. So this top regret, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. This is one of the main reasons why you need to retire early. What you need to do is cut back your spending as much as you possibly can, so you can take that money, you can save it and invest it, so you can retire as early as you possibly can. And cutting back your spending doesn't mean living like a nun, or doesn't mean living like a monk. It doesn't mean sitting with the lights off in the dark. It doesn't mean sitting in the cold with the heating turned off. It means only spend money on the things that really matter or the things that you really need, and take the rest of it and save it and invest it so that you can retire early. As you guys already know, I'm very frugal with money. My girlfriend is also frugal with money. We think exactly the same way about money. We don't buy unnecessary things. We buy as much as we can secondhand to save money. And we've always tried to save and invest as much of our money as possible. Now, one of the things we do spend our money on is holidays. We love to go on holidays. We love to take a break from the UK weather. We love to get sunshine, especially in the winter when it's really cold and it's really dark in the UK. But even then, we're very careful about how much money we spend on holidays. So we won't go out and spend, say, £5,000 on a holiday. We always look for last minute bargains, we always look for sales on flights, and we always book as last minute as possible to save as much money as possible. If we can, we tend to book private apartments like this one I'm in now, with a washing machine and facilities. So it means that you can wash your clothes partway through the week, you can hang them out, you can dry them, and you can save lots of money on luggage fees that way. We always book places that have good kitchen facilities so we can self-cater for most of the week. We only really eat out when we feel like eating out, rather than paying for 20 or 30 meals on holiday, most of which you won't remember anyway. So if you can, aim to spend your money on experiences rather than stuff. When you're on your deathbed, you're not going to remember the new curtains that you bought. You're not going to remember the sofa that you bought. You're not going to remember the dining room table. You're going to remember the experiences that you had, and you're going to remember all the times that you spent with family and loved ones and actually doing things rather than buying stuff. I already knew this, but what this book has reinforced for me is don't throw all your time and energy into work. If you can retire early, then it's well worth doing it, and spend that time enjoying life and having experiences rather than spending all your time backward and forward doing the 9 to 5. Because when you're on your deathbed, you're not going to remember that project that you put in. You're not going to remember the time you worked overtime. So try to spend less money. If necessary, take a less stressful job to preserve your health into your later years. Try to spend some money where you can on experiences rather than stuff. And finally, invest your money so that you can retire early and you can enjoy life while you're still fit and healthy. So you can stop working and enjoy life as much as possible while you're still in your healthy years. So I hope you found that useful, guys. As usual, don't forget to click the like button if you enjoyed the video. And of course, if you want to follow me on my early retirement journey, don't forget to subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. I'm just going to head back into the sunshine now and then enjoy a glass of sangria, which my girlfriend's just prepared for me. There you go.